Ever tried to save a few bucks on a floor cleaning machine, only to end up with a plastic-capped budget unit that sputters, leaks, and leaves streaks all over the tiles? I've been there, and the frustration of trading a cheap alternative for extra work time is why I'm cautious before any purchase that promises big room power in a tiny package. The SUNMAX 14-inch corded floor scrubber dryer tries to position itself as that smarter buy one that won't make you regret spending a little more upfront. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first saw this machine, the first question that popped into my head was, can a 14-inch, 4-gallon unit really keep up with the daily grind of a small cafe or a tight-fit office lobby? That's the kind of hesitation that makes me dig deeper before hitting add to cart. The key issues for any floor care tool are how easily it fits into the space you have, how much water it actually needs to lift grime without leaving a mess, and whether the controls stay intuitive after you've swapped out the pads a dozen times. The SUNMAX model tries to answer those doubts with a compact chassis, a digital LCD screen, and a built-in tank that claims 4 gallons of solution and recovery capacity. Let's talk about the real-world setup first. Because it's corded, you're not juggling batteries or worrying about charge cycles, just plug it in and you're ready. The 14-inch width makes it genuinely easy to maneuver around desk legs, narrow hallways, and those stubborn corners where a larger machine would just scrape the baseboard. Once the water tanks are filled, one for solution, one for dirty water, the LCD tells you the exact level, so you know exactly when you need to pause and dump the dirty water. That feedback loop is a subtle but useful feature. I've used other scrubbers that just guess when they're full, causing overflow and a slippery mess. Who should consider this scrubber? If you run a small to medium commercial space, think coffee shops, boutique retail, or a school hallway under 1,500 square feet, you'll likely find the 4-gallon capacity enough to clean a full shift without having to refill every 10 minutes. The machine also shines for anyone who needs to alternate between scrubbing, buffing, and polishing without swapping out separate equipment. The included floor care set has mop heads for each mode, and the quick change system lets you slide them on in under 30 seconds. That means less downtime for a janitor or a facility manager who's already juggling dozens of tasks. On the other hand, if you're looking for a heavy-duty solution for a large warehouse, a multi-room office complex, or a high-traffic area that demands a constant flow of water, you'll probably outgrow this unit fairly quickly. The 4-gallon tank, while generous for a compact machine, will still need refilling after roughly 30 to 40 minutes of continuous scrubbing on a typical commercial floor. That translates to interruptions that a larger, Rideon model would handle without a break. Also, because it's corded, you're tied to an outlet, so you need a power source close enough to the cleaning zone, which isn't always the case in sprawling facilities. Now, let's break down practical strengths. First, the size. The 14-inch frame is literally tight space ready. I tested it on a narrow corridor that measured barely 18 inches wide between a wall and a built-in bookshelf. The machine glided along without snagging, and the LCD stayed readable even under fluorescent lighting. Second, the versatility. Switching from a scrub pad to a buff pad is as simple as unlocking the housing, pulling the pad off, and snapping the new one in place. I ran a quick test on a waxed hardwood floor using the polish pad, and the result was a faint shine, not the glass-like finish you'd see on a dedicated polishing machine, but enough to enhance the natural luster for a day's worth of foot traffic. Third, the durability of the hose and spray nozzles. The unit uses a reinforced hose that didn't kink or leak when I dragged it across a long stretch of carpet, which is a surprisingly common failure point on cheaper models. Weaknesses are a little more nuanced. The biggest gripe I have is the water recovery speed. Because the machine pulls the dirty water into a separate tank, the pump has to work harder to lift it against gravity. In a scenario where you're scrubbing a wet spill, say coffee, on a tile floor, the intake seemed to slow down a notch, leaving a thin film of solution on the surface before the dirty tank filled up. It didn't ruin the cleaning, but it added a small extra pass to dry the floor completely. Also, the digital display, while helpful, is limited to level indicators and a basic timer. There's no programmable cleaning cycle, so you're stuck using the same manual process each time. For a professional who prefers a sit and forget routine, that might be a minor inconvenience. Finally, the machine's weight is around 30 pounds, light enough for one person to lift, but still a bit unwieldy for